Greeting to Sir Luis. Today, my group will presenting the product life cycle. Before we start, I will introduce my group members, which is Genesia John, myself, Muhammad Syamil Muhammad Faizal, and Vaishnavi Gunabalam. Okay, I will be passing the mic to Genesia.
Thank you, Shamir, for your intro. Let me continue the slide presentation. Product life cycle, known as the life cycle of a product that first being introduced to consumer until the company discontinuing the product from the market. The product life cycle has four stages, namely introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. This product life cycle has its own development. The development known as the Valley of Death. This term used to describe the product development period. This stage is usually financed by the entrepreneur from their own personal capital in startup business. More than that, same company also may introduce the new launch product. Growth is the stage where the product increases and gains acceptance among consumer, industry, and the wider general public. During this period, the product becomes accepted in the market. As a result, the demand of the product becomes more increased in the market. The maturity stage is when the sales begin to level off from the rapid growth period. At this point, companies begin to reduce the prices so they can stay competitive amongst growing competition. During the maturity stage, the product began to enter the most profitable stage and the sales are drastically increased.
Thank you. I will be taking over from here. What is saturation? Saturation in this topic there are two kind of saturation. Saturation of the product cycle itself and the market growth and the market saturation. Decline. What is decline? Decline is when the sale growth become negative and the profit is declining. The profit is declining, sorry. And competition still remain high. And also the product itself ultimately reach its own death, which is discontinued or disbanded, something like that. Okay, let's go to the next slide, which is the first case study, which is the floppy disk. Okay, what is actually a floppy disk? Floppy disk is a flexible. A floppy disk is actually a flexible disk that coated with magnetic material. Okay, what is the main purpose of the floppy disk? Is to store data. Okay, how it was developed? Okay, the first floppy disk was invented or developed at IBM San Jose, California, by an inventor named David L. Noble. Okay, the floppy disk was developed in three sizes. Okay, the first one, okay, let's go to the growth. And IBM began selling the 8-inch floppy disk in 1971, which is the first floppy disk, the one with the black one. Okay, and then the company received a US patent for the drive in 1972. Okay, that is how the product growth. Okay, for the maturity, floppy drives were released in 1977. The, the floppy disk was the first truly easy way to transfer file. Okay, the saturation. The introduction of a superior data storage device with high capacity and reliability encouraged many consumers to abandon the floppy disk, which lead to the decline of the floppy disk sales and users. Okay, in the end, on the decline, Sony has announced after the abandon of the floppy disk. Sony has announced the end of floppy disk manufacture in 2010, and also that that is the mark that prove that floppy disk is now an obsolete product. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you, and I will pass to the next presentation or to the next presentator.
Thank you, Shamir. So, I will present the case study 2, which is Canon EF series. What is Canon EF series? Japan's ability is to design and produce 35mm camera like Canon EF series. Canon EF series is a product that made in Japan. Japan domestically designed a camera 35mm focal length shooter camera. Japan invented the first made camera, which is 35mm cameras to be viable. Instruments Laboratory registered the trademark Canon, and the company began work on the first production camera. The Canon EF series product achieved growth stages when the company won their first award in 1949, while in 2014, Canon company celebrated having manufactured 100 million Canon lenses. But by 1939 precision, the Optical Instrument Laboratory was producing the Serenor series, which is 39mm screw-mount lenses. But in the 1940s, the raw material being siphoned into the war effort. Lastly, the company was unable to manufacture the cameras for the duration of conflict. While on the 947, the Precision Optical Instrument was renamed the company, which is Canon Camera Company. In 1949 also, Canon Company won the first award. On that time, Canon Company celebrated its first in the world achievement of having manufactured 100 million interchangeable lenses in 2004. In the year of 2018, Canon has started introduced the new product with the RF. In the year of 2018 also, Canon company only focused releasing the new product frame mirrors manual in 2010. Canon will discontinue to produce the EF series product. I will pass this to the next presenter.
Case Study 3 Fujicolor Pro 400H. What is Fujicolor Pro 400H? So, the development about the Fujicolor Pro 400H Professional is it's a new generation. It is extremely beneficial. High Pro 400H has a 400 ISO speed rating. It can be used to satisfy a variety of photographic needs. Next. Decline about Fujicolor Pro. Fujicolor Pro 400H will no longer be producing the fan favorite film in 2021. Difficulties obtaining sufficient raw material. Summary. The invention of the floppy disk had a huge influence in development of data storage technology. The floppy disk was declared obsolete in 2010 and Sony stopped manufacturing in 2011. The first Canon brand was called Quanon and it was originally designed in Japan. Due to the passage of time in 2018, Canon company focusing on releasing the full-frame mirrorless camera with the brand new mount, then they discontinuing producing Canon EF series in 2020. Fujifilm, the maker of the 4-layer to film stock Fujicolor Pro 400H, announced on January 14, 2021 that they will no longer be producing the fan favorite film due of difficulties obtaining sufficient raw materials due to labor issues. So, the conclusion about the case study is technology advancement is the main point of the declining user and buyers in market. Thank you.